We'll call the Long Range Planning Facilities Committee meeting to order. Roll call. Mr. Edmond?
Here.
Mrs. DeZarmo? Here. Ms. LeBeau?
Here.
Ms. Hannah Mason is on her way. Let the record show. We will then move on to the agenda 2.1. First of all, also I want to acknowledge Ms. Amy Trahan, who is here as a board member that is sitting along, and as she stated to each of you, she's here to learn and be a part of the process. Thank you for showing up. Again, any board member can show up at any one of these different committee meetings. We do have 4 that have been appointed by our president, Mr. Brett Lachile. First item is 2.1, selection of Long Range Planning Facilities Committee chairperson. I need a motion to open up nominations and suggest an appointment.
Mr. Superintendent, I make a motion to appoint a chairperson for the Long Range Planning Committee, and I would like to nominate Ms. Kate LeBeau.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have Mr. Zarmo who has a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Motion passed. Ms. LeBeau, congratulations. The gavel is yours.
My first gavel. First of all, thank you all very much for your confidence in me. I'm very passionate about this topic. So I'm grateful that Amy, that you decided to come today. Thank you. And everybody on the committee, thank you for your dedication, because this is a process that is probably long overdue, but it's not going to be quick. It's not going to be short. And I want to assure the public that we're going to make decisions with not only professional support, but some community input as well, because we want to make sure that we're making the decision with the entirety of Lafayette Parish, understanding why we're making the decision, and then supporting and knowing where they can ask the questions and how they can help assist us in making these decisions. So thank you so much for being here. I'm very excited also that we represent very different areas in the parish, because I think everybody's thoughts and areas and needs and community needs need to be considered. So thank you again. And Mr. Superintendent, would you like to give any staff remarks?
Yeah, first of all, Ms. LeBeau, thank you. Again, we have our staff here, Mr. Nick Jeffers, we have Dr. Mark Robilley, we have our Assistant Superintendent of Business, Mr. Matt Dugat is here, and we have Christy Hayes, who's going to assist us. We have some of Mr. Dugat's higher up people in finance that are here to kind of just listen in. One of the things that I wanted to communicate to the planning committee members is that this is going to be very important that we line up our resources where our resources need to be. I will tell you that we are in every school in this parish, and you can tell definitely where schools need to have more attention to. And I will just say that regardless of where they are, all of our kids deserve to have a high quality facility for them to actually go to. So I will say, and I will challenge this board to really not look at, is this my district or is this district? I will tell you that our staff will give you what you need as far as knowing where these different issues are, and we're willing to give that to you. Because again, it's about our kids, and it's about what they need to actually do to be able to survive and also be in a safe environment moving forward as far as getting their education. So again, I look forward to this. There's going to be a lot of different things that you guys will work closely with me. I will lean on Mr. Matt Dugas and his team to align those resources where they need to be. But again, I am very excited, and I, again, encourage you guys who are here to also encourage other board members to come to this particular facility, because I will tell you that this may be one of the most important committees that we have because of what is in stake as far as our infrastructure is concerned. So again, thank you for that, and look forward to seeing what this committee can actually bring for all of our students in Lafayette Parish.
Next, we have item 2.4. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Can you get a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll move forward with the agenda. Next on the agenda, item 2.5, a solicitation of suggestion of topics for the committee to address in our calendar year 2024. And I'll take those now from any staff, board members, or committee members that might be present.
Well, and again, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I guess what you're asking is that there are any recommendations that we feel like we need to look at. Well, I'll be the first one to say that Lafayette Parish has really taken two of our worst facilities, Prairie Elementary and Bob Lilly, and really replaced them. I will tell you that Dr. Raleigh and our team and myself, we travel all over this district, and I just want you to go have a meeting at S.J. Montgomery. It is one of the facilities that I will tell you that is just as bad as the Karen Crow Bob Lilly. It is just as bad as what we experience as far as Prairie. And again, no kid should actually have to go to school in that type of facility. We get things that are happening as far as sewage. We're having issues as far as where it's located because it rains and kids cannot even go outside and play. We have a lot of different struggles as far as that is concerned. So that is the one thing. The other thing is that I will really direct you guys, and I've sent this to you, and I'm all about sending you what you need to be able to make good decisions, is that Mr. Mike Hefner gave the previous board a study of where growth is going to be in the upcoming years. I would say that to this team, that you look at that, you look at to see where that will actually, lean you to. But again, it goes back to is no matter what is happening, we have to address the facilities where the most needs are. I will say that, we are in a position where charter schools are surrounding us throughout this district. And believe it or not, we are driven by the amount of students that we have. I mean, we have MFP dollars that come from the state. When you leave and you lose 1,000 kids in a year, that's a lot of money for this board to actually find. So again, we are going to do our due diligence as far as making sure that staff looks at staffing and making sure that we're doing what we can so that we do have the available dollars for this particular team to be able to say, this is where we need to actually put our focus. So again, I think it's a great idea that you guys are going to look at maybe moving these meetings to various places in the district, because I will tell you, you'll get an eyeful. You'll be able to see firsthand, and please get there a little early and go walk around, and stay late and go and walk. And you'll be amazed of what we are trying to be able to fix. Again, thank you so much for that. And again, we will continue to provide you with information as you guys need.
If y'all don't mind if I add to that. Yes, we do plan on moving these meetings from the boardroom to the different schools around the parish. So we will add S.J. Montgomery to our list. And if any board members want to make further suggestions on topics, please feel free to also add a school that you would like us to visit and host a meeting in. Thank you.
Okay, I would like to point out that LJ Alamo was built at the same time that S.J. Montgomery was. It's the same floor plan. It's in the same condition. We did add a wing and a cafetorium, but the rest of the school remains. We have 1,100 students, I believe, there. Or did it go down? Do you know?
It's about 900.
900 now, because we moved 5th grade, which was completely Butler buildings. So the Butler buildings have been moved out. But currently, they are replacing the roof over...
The various pods that
Right.
we have in the front, behind the administrative building, they're replacing all of those different roofs.
Right. So a few weeks ago, it was straight rain in the classrooms. So that is being re-roofed, but the front part of the building is the exact same condition as S.J. Montgomery. So I would love it if we held our meetings at S.J. and then Alamo. And, through the years, not the last term, so I wasn't even on the board the term previously, LJ Alamo was on the list, but it was taken off, So I think it's a good idea to really examine the list and compare it with Mike Hefner's suggestions and make sure that the current list fits what the current board sees as a need. So just bringing that up.
Yeah, and I think Amy and I both had kids go to LJ, so it has a special place for us. So I'm definitely good with that. And I'd like to add Carencro Middle to our list as well. Not so much facilities in the condition you're speaking of, but there's some unused space that I think we can use to help that school. They have a whole building they're not really using because they can't get handicap arrangements. Yeah. So it's definitely not in the condition. It's definitely down the list, but it's something that I'd like to look at.
I think, just to echo your sentiments in regards to the list and reviewing it as the current board, I think maybe that's something that we should do collectively, take a look at that list. Of course, Josh, I, and Chad, we are all new, but there would be some great conversations I think we could have, as a new board, just discussing the needs for all of our schools in the district. In looking at the year the schools were actually built and what improvements, what building upkeep has been needed throughout the years, I think that would be a great overview for us to take a look at and assess moving forward. When we talk about the schools, we probably all can identify at least one or two or maybe more in our districts, each of our districts, that we would want to, really address. But I think also collectively as a board, we know that all of our requests will probably far exceed the finances that we have. So we would want to, have further conversations to what we see as best in prioritizing in that way. When I think about schools in my district, I have 10, brick and mortar schools, 11 complete with all of the programs, but, and it's the largest or the most schools in any of the districts. So I think I have an increased challenge because there are always requests, probably from every school. So as I meet with my each of the administrators at the school, it's great hearing the things that they have to say, but also I think their voices need to be heard as well and expressed by means of, me as the avenue, the vehicle to bring that to the board so that we can have further conversations. When I look at Northside High, like when was that school built? How is that school progressing? And as well as J.W. Falk. So when we're talking about schools that we really want to take a look at, I probably can name all of the schools in my district, as can each of you. Maybe not Josh with the new school, one of his new schools, so he can't name all the schools in, Chad, but that's where we're striving for all of the schools in our district, right? And so I think continuous collective conversations would be good. So just right off the top, those are the two schools that I would say. And I may circle back and after we have conversations like, well, maybe we need to tweak that a little bit. But I think it first starts with us having collective conversations.
I also wanted to point out, I believe that J.W. Falk, S.J. Montgomery, and L.J. Alamo are the same floor plan, are they? Yeah. So I think that they were built at the same time.
Yeah.
So they're all very
Aged.
similar.
Mr. Edmond, would you like to add any topics or anything?
I'm sorry. I want to echo everything that Ms. Amy spoke on. We just see all the needs of the schools, and being that me, Chad, and Amy is like one of the new members on the board. We want to just go in and just thoroughly walk all our schools and just visualize, and see what's going on, and just be assistance to every school in the district, because like you said, LJ Alamo and then S.J. Montgomery, like Mr. Superintendent said, all kids in all districts deserve, a fair school, decent infrastructure, to have the best education in. So, I want to echo everybody's sentiments and just support everything that's being presented to us today.
Thank you very much. And feel free to obviously submit topics at any point in time, and we'll use these topics to help us generate not only where we locate our meetings, but also how we'll structure them moving forward. And obviously the charter schools and the not only the population growth and Mike Hefner's numbers, but we do need to look at the expansion of the charter schools, not only in Lafayette Parish, but in Vermilion Parish. I think we're losing approximately 330 students. So to the new charter school that's going to be built in Vermilion and ready for the fall. So we do have a heavy task at hand, just looking at where the population shifts are happening and where we could do a job of consolidation or maybe new programs that are exciting to our population. We want kids to come to our schools because they want to be in our schools and we want them excited to come to school. So the facilities, this was a facilities committee originally. It has been transformed into a long-range planning committee because we need to focus on our facilities, but we also need to figure out how we can get kids excited again about attending our schools. And so we're going to look at all of that comprehensively, whether it is our facilities, our programs, our population growth, everything will be considered, and it's not going to be an easy task, but it's something that I think we all know in the end will make our schools more competitive and better. So very excited. Thank y'all for the topics, and again, anything else, and anybody in the audience like to share anything? I know we have one of our wonderful community partners here from the Pew Foundation who's going to be really working alongside us as a partner for this endeavor. So if you have anything you would like to share, we would love to hear it. And in fact, I think we have an ongoing project and grant with you. So if you don't mind talking about that one, that's our next topic, 2.6. Yes, please. Thank you.
Turn it on. There we go. Hello. Wow. Thanks a lot. I just, a few things to mention. Very happy to be in this room with all of you and talking about these things. And certainly, population, facilities, programs, personnel. I mean, there's so many lanes. And I kind of work for Todd Mouton, work for the Pew Family Foundation. We're sort of in the community partnership lane and, student support, educator support, and a couple things that are going on that I think are worth mentioning. Over a year ago, Dr. Amy Barber at the university, in partnership with the district, her peer here is Ryan Martin, has been working on this Reimagine grant, which looks at the teacher pipeline. And it looks at the teacher shortage from a very holistic perspective. It looks at all the challenges along the way from essentially middle school beyond retirement. And it's essentially a strategic plan for that segment of essentially LPSS's workforce, which of course is shared by the university in different ways. Teachers belong to all of us here in the community, and if we don't manage that particular process, not only are we going to face a shortage, we're going to face all sorts of challenges. And I think that we're also working, Pew Family Foundation, William C. Schumacher Family Foundation, Love Our Schools, to provide some community layers of support to the district. And the new teacher support program over here is also sort of ties back into that Reimagine grant. And I guess, I would just say that I think there is community support for moving forward with this process, maybe hiring a consultant to look at holistically all the aspects of the district. And as a community partner, what lane should we run in? How fast can we run? I think we've developed a great rapport these last many years about communicating and what are emerging needs, what are current needs, where do we fit in? But when you start really looking at the size of the district, the workforce and all that, to me, everything from career and technical education alignment, are we teaching the programs that are high demand, high wage jobs? And there are folks out there I think that can help us with this. So I just wanted to throw in that there's a lot stirring out there, and I think there's a great appetite to sort of kind of put it all on one page, one document, and say, this is what we're going to do. Again, very long range, multiple, cohorts of students down the road, but these are the steps we could take in the short term. So happy to be involved.
Yeah, board members, I'll just add one thing to what Mr. Mouton stated is, again, the work is very busy because our job is to strategically make sure that all of our kids are getting educated every single day. The one thing that I will tell you is that as a person that has been in the educational system for 33 years, is that we need to, in Lafayette Parish, have a strategic plan. And I can tell you that regardless of what is happening in the past or what the avenues have been, we need to look at, because it's about what's going to happen 10 years from now, what's going to happen 20 years from now, what is going to happen to Lafayette Parish And regardless if we are here sitting at this table, there are going to be other board members and there are going to be other kids at other schools. And what I'm going to say is that we're going to need someone to work alongside of us to be able to project what this looks like. Whether this be someone that comes on our staff, whether this be someone that we have to look at as consultants. I'm just going to say that this is something that we need to be more forward thinking and not just say we're going to just think about this year and we're going to think about next year's budget. Listen, let's think about 10 years from now. Let's think about 15 years, 20. And it's going to need someone to be that strategic to make that type of decision. And I'm willing to do what you guys advise us to do in regard to that. So I'm excited about this, and I'm excited that this is a plan that may be something that is going to be able to be put in place.
I'd like to say one more thing. So Mr. Touchette always talks about instructional time. And I think the schools that are having trouble getting their instructional time due to rain, due to facility improvements, I think we should be on the high priority, right? Just for the simple fact that instruction time is very important to our leader of the school system. So I just think we should consider that as well when it comes to upgrades.
Okay, our next item is 2.7. It's our current priority identified facility projects slated by the board. So I know this is the list I think Ms. Mason and Mrs. Trahan, referenced earlier. We do have a priority list that we've established through the years. It's been added to, and it will be discussed tomorrow night at our board meeting. And I'll just read it off since it's not attached, I don't believe, to this agenda. So we have additions and renovations that are slated or on the list for GD's Middle Library and Academic Wing Edition, Acadiana High School Academic Wing Edition, Southside High Home and Visitor Stadium, David Thibodeau STEM Magnet Academy Gymnasium, Karen Crowe High School Academy of Information Technology Center, and Lafayette Middle School Library. And then full replacements of the school we have slated Northside High School, J.W. Falk Elementary, and S.J. Montgomery Elementary. So as a board and comprehensively, I know we'll be discussing taking steps on those actions, and hopefully the planning that we do here will help us know if those are the right priorities that we should be using our budget funds for. And again, is that going to make sure that we have instructional time gained, or is it going to be the best use of our funds? What does our population shift look like? In addition to the 300 students we're losing to the Vermilion Charter School, there's 1,200 new students coming to ARCA in the fall. And we know in 2025, we're going to have 1,000 middle school seats that are built at LARCA on the north side. So we know that we need to be looking at these replacements, these additions, in light of what our population growth is, and then also taking into account the additional seats that will be available at other educational facilities. So we'll be discussing this moving forward. I think at this point, if anybody wants to add anything, I don't know if we have enough information at this point to make any decisions, but if anybody wants to make an observation on this list, we can do that right now.
So let me just add this, Ms. LeBou, that tomorrow night's meeting is going to be to take, and as she stated, over the years, it's just been a list that's been grown, okay? And all tomorrow night is going to be to divide that into to where these are new schools and these are wing replacements or additions, okay? So you will all we are going to be doing tomorrow is just in a consent agenda, just dividing those two. I will have Christy send every one of you guys what that division looks like. And if you look at the agenda, it has it divided so that it can basically just say, okay, these are the lists. Now, what I think Ms. LeBou is referring to is that you may need to start looking at what needs to be added or what needs to come off. And that is why this particular committee is made to make those recommendations. But tomorrow night's meeting is just to split. These are new schools. These are, because what's going to end up happening is you're going to have to direct us to where funding percentages need to be as far as new schools or any additions.
Thank you for the clarification. Item 2.8. So talking about a potential strategic planner. So we have been approached by some philanthropic partners who want to assist us in getting some professional assistance and guidance in making these decisions as a board, who has been through this process, understands how to synthesize data, understands how to help us, correlate that to what our budget priorities, projections should be, and then how we can make sure that this plan is really a long-term plan, that we're planning for the next, as you said, the next 10 years and beyond, so that we're really making sure that our resources are being put in the very best place possible. So I do have Mr. Mouton here, who has worked with a strategic planner before and may have some insight. Can you possibly kind of walk us through what those phases look like, and any potential recommendations or things that you might want to add to that? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, and this is awfully loud. The consultant we've been working with on the Reimagine grant, Garrett Landry, Steady School Impact Strategies, he is assisting the Pew Family Foundation with some different projects and some potential partnerships with the district. He is supporting the work at the Evangeline Reimagine Academy up in Evangeline Parish and Ville Platte, various other Reimagine grants, works with other districts. He's just introduced us to his processes, and he's been pretty immersed. He's from New Orleans originally, lives in Maryland now. And it's a typical, gather, top of funnel, gather information from inside, socialize it outside with stakeholders and other community partners, bring it back, adopt it. It's a process like that may cost, $95,000, somewhere in that range. Have been talking to various philanthropic partners about potentially providing a grant for half that cost and asking the district to pick up the other half. That's just one recommendation. There are many providers that do this kind of work, but this is someone that has a track record with the district, and we've been really enjoyed working with him. And for instance, he's done these types of career and technical education alignments with Tarrant County, much larger districts. He's worked to, again, just from the community perspective, organize a bunch of nonprofits and create sort of a list of engagement opportunities and sort of best practices. There are so many people in the community that want to get involved and help, but it's often very hard to even understand how this entity operates. And so a clearer public plan that sort of defines, the academic inputs and outputs, the resources that y'all are putting towards certain goals, again, the many different ways that folks can support the campuses themselves, the nonprofits who maybe have MOUs or other agreements with y'all. So I've been exploring this, and I'm hoping to have something maybe in the next week or two to concrete that we could look at. But the idea of entering into a formal process to kind of add that layer of sort of, really comprehensiveness, right? Because all of us see what we see, but compared to other districts in Louisiana, how do we measure? Compared to other districts in the South, compared to other districts in the state, compared to other programs in other places. What are the coming trends? And particularly when you look at things like digital learning, digital literacy, digital citizenship. I mean, there are components that maybe aren't so much on the radar, right, at this point, but the future of schools and the future of being competitive, the district offers more choices already than anybody else in the parish, right, and possibly the state, and really telling that story, internal communications, external communications. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. I think y'all have I think y'all have a great admin team, a great leadership team here at the board, and sort of the foundation is there, but what are these sort of signposts and directions we can take to go farther? So I hope that helps kind of illustrate where we're going with that, or trying to go with that.
Todd, just a quick question. Who's the consultant? What's the name?
His name's Garrett Landry, and it's called Steady State Impact Strategies. He's in town every couple weeks. He's been working on the Reimagine grant for about a year. And again, be happy to get y'all together, show you some samples of work. To be candid, it seems like almost every organization we touch or work with needs a strategic plan, whether that's a nonprofit, a foundation, a school system. And part of the reason I'm sort of bringing his name up now is because I have spoken with him and other organizations in our community about doing this work. And I think even on the nonprofit NGO side of things, there's always a need for a strategic planning workshop to help organizations get their plans in order. But it's kind of a follow the leader. And LPSS, y'all are the biggest fish. Everybody wants to help and support and do good things with the district in partnership. But where, when, how is kind of the question. And what are those priorities? Again, how do we best support the district's identified priorities? How do we promulgate them publicly?
So, Todd, is there any way that maybe you can send me the information in reference to what Ms. Amy just stated, and I can make sure that we
Yep.
get it to all of our board members so that at least they can do some research on that, and then, based upon what the committee wants to do as far as bringing Mr. Garrett in here or talking or whatever, but I think just having something for them to be able to look at and some of the work that he may have, if you can get that to me, we can definitely make sure that we get it to all so that they can start educating themselves.
Absolutely. Thanks.
May I say something? Oh, sorry.
Sure. Ms. Mason?
I just wanted to speak in favor of the idea of LPSS having a strategic planner, being that we are the largest employer in Lafayette Parish. And the fact that we haven't had one previously could be why we have, every new board that comes in makes up a new plan and makes up a new list. So, we are the heart of our community, and we need to have some real strategy in growing this community. We're one of the largest school systems in the state. And people are looking at us and seeing how we are educating our youth and leading our parish. So very much in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mason. In addition to educating 30,000 kids, we're a transportation service. We're a food service industry. We do logistics. We have, as you said, we're the largest employer, so we're an HR, conglomerate. So we have so many facets, and we have a very large budget and a lot to maximize with those dollars. So I know as somebody who ran a nonprofit, working with a strategic planner was not only helped us be more economically efficient, but also streamlined every process that we had. So I see the great value in this. I'm grateful that we have community partners that have continued time and time again to say we want to help. And they're business leaders in this industry, and they would in our area, and they wouldn't be business leaders if they didn't do everything with intention and strategic planning. So I know that we not only are we being led by and supported by people who are successful, but they want us to be successful too. So I think that again, I just want to echo how grateful I am that we have had these wonderful partners walk with us along the way and help us maybe band-aid some of the issues that we've had and help us get some of our schools beautified and help us support our teachers and staff and bus drivers and everybody else. But I think this will make a larger impact than we can ever imagine if we come together and plan so that we know that we're making sure that every day we open that door, we're giving the best experience to every child we can, the best staff experience we can, administration, everybody else is being supported. Logistically, we are doing everything we can to make sure that this community is the shining star that everybody's looking to. So thank you for your support committee and Mr. Mouton for being here today.
Cool. And could I throw in one more little point on that? So on that Reimagine grant, it was an effort, again, a multi-year, over $1 million effort to look into the teacher shortage, strategies for retention. Something that often gets said is you have to rebrand and you have to retain before you can recruit. And what we discovered in that process was that most teachers teach within 20 miles of where they grew up. So all the teachers we're ever going to have in Lafayette Parish are already here. And so the effort is focused on grow your own. How do you meet them in middle school? Say, hey, you interested in being an educator? Maybe so. How do you do this in high school? How can you get dual enrollment? Well, if we're growing our own teachers, we need to grow our own custodians, our own cafeteria technicians. We need to advance our paras to certified teachers. There are all these sort of pathways within just the human resources side of things. And, we're focused on teachers. They're very important. They're the most important factor in front of a student. But there are so many ways that your workforce could have an even greater impact on your results much less this community as folks transition in and out. And again, this district with, institutes of higher education and stuff, in this parish, we are positioned to really lead the region and beyond. So, so I think there's just a ton of opportunity in each segment of a strategic plan. Thanks.
I just got one more and I'll be done. I'll kind of back in what Hannah says. In a way, the strategic planner, it takes the emotion out of it too, right? I mean, we're close to our schools, we're close to our principals, we're close to our community. Strategic planner will help us get past that passion we maybe have for our district, our school. We're all in it for every school, but are we making the right decisions at the right time? And I think the strategic planner helps us take that emotion out and makes it more of a business decision. So.
Great point. Thank you very much. 2.9 is meeting format. So we've kind of briefly touched on it. Meeting format, we are going to take the information the topics that we discussed today, potentially meet with the strategic planner and try to figure out what our meeting format agenda, what our agendas will consist of, and also meeting locations. Because again, I think we all think it's very important that we're in these schools, especially the ones that we're going to be evaluating for either additions or any type of changes. So we need to be there physically present. So does anybody have anything that they would like to modify from what we kind of propose as the meeting format? Ms. Mason?
I really just have a question. We have camera, we have computers. When we have our meetings elsewhere, how are we doing that?
Yeah, we'll have to work through those logistics, but we'll make sure that we have the same type of things. I mean, believe it or not, I'm sure other boards have had to move meetings to Lafayette High. I think we've had one at Lafayette High, and we had to set up computers. We'll make sure that all of that is taken care of for you. You guys just let us know where it is, and we'll make it happen.
And we'll do our best to have it live streamed, but if not live streamed, hopefully we can have it videoed and available. And again, the public has our contact information if they would like to contact.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious, these meetings, these committee meetings are public meetings with all the same rules? Okay, just making sure.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to add? Okay. So moving on, 2.1 was, 2.10, I'm sorry, was community input. Does anybody have anything? I know we have some audience members that joined us today. I had a couple people that did reach out to me on social media, just kind of asking questions about, in general, what our format would be, kind of what our projection, or what our pathway would be for this committee. But does anybody have anything they'd like to discuss or add? Okay.
Sorry, I have all the questions and opinions, sorry. I would love for Mr. Touchette to possibly borrow some time with your other panels that you have and ask them about different facilities. I mean, that you already have these people in the room and you have great panels set up. So I would love to hear, at the end of your meetings, if you wouldn't mind putting this topic on your agenda to ask them where the needs are, or their, or ask the opinions. Because otherwise, in the past, we've had town halls at different schools, and, as much as I would like to have a town hall at every school, we have 48 schools. So that might be very time consuming. I'm just trying to think of the most efficient way to get public opinion without, putting something on Facebook.
Will do.
And I will envision that when we're working with a strategic planner, or if we're just working through the phases of a typical strategic plan, community input will be a part of that. Probably when we're further down the road and have, again, we have analyzed the data, we're understanding why we're going to move in a certain direction, all that. That's when we would love to engage the community on some things. So we will probably do those types of community input, but it'll be different phases throughout the process. Because I know when I did a strategic plan just for a 19 parish area for a nonprofit on a very focused topic, that there were multiple phases. So it's, you know, it's not an overnight, no overnight decisions are going to be made. It's going to be a long process, and we'll definitely be seeking community input and, again, a business input. Todd brought up a really good point about workforce readiness. We want to make sure that our business leaders are involved. They're telling us what they want to see from our students, what they need in education-wise, because we want to make sure we're also giving our students the value of coming out and being able to find a job. We want to make sure that our credential programs are what our workforce needs. We just want to make sure that we're giving every opportunity that, and not only is keeping up with technology in the future and those who have college aspirations, but those who also want to look into credentials and certifications and those kind of things. So we want to make sure that we're aligning ourselves with our community, because we want to make sure that if our kid stays here, they have a job here, they're successful here, our businesses are happy here. And we've had some of these really successful partnerships with the EMT program and different things with the Acadian Ambulance and, you know, different groups. So we really want to make sure we're reaching out to all of those business partners for those opportunities where we can figure out a way to plug our students into their workforce programs or their workforce needs, and then have them really be successful in that way. So I love that you brought that up. So, and then 2.11 on our agenda is business input, and I don't think we have any business leaders here today, but we'll try to make sure that we incorporate them and invite them to our meetings so that we're getting that input steadily throughout the process, because I want to make sure that that's a key component of what we're doing. Ms. Mason.
Mr. Mouton, I know that through Love Our Schools we have the cafes, and getting input about this topic at our cafes, I think, would be a wonderful way to get some information quickly and efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think anyone that we might contract to run this process would probably create all these sort of ways of funneling information from panels and community groups and so forth. Absolutely. Whether through surveys, there's a lot of tools out there, and I agree it'd be neat to see that phase where there's all these sort of lists, and then people get to sort of critique, this is what's on the, this is what's proposed, what do y'all think? And again, this spider web's in everything, right? Y'all have already had meetings with the panels on dress code, discipline matrix, and again, to peek our head out and say, is there a better dress code out there somewhere? Is there a simpler discipline matrix in some other district? How do we bring that in as well beyond just the local input?
I think that was a great idea. You actually said we're the biggest employer, and I believe in colleges for some people, but it's not for everybody. But we do hire janitors, we do hire electricians, so maybe we can, you just got my wheels turning. I'm ready to start training our local people and put them into our system.
Right. Why aren't we graduating these people to come in right after high school?
That's what I was thinking. Maybe
it'd be amazing.
Their career center and stuff like that, they can actually start developing, and we'll teach them everything they need as long as they stick around and work in the system.
Yeah, I would throw in, go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'd just like to add, because I just happened to meet with Dr. Bofi at the Career Center today. There are some wonderful things going on at the Career Center, and when we speak about why aren't we, educating and graduating these students, I think there's a lot of wonderful things that's on the horizon, current and on the horizon for the Career Center, one being pre-educated pathways that she spoke with me about today. So I think we're headed in the right direction. It's just this strategic planning consultant that we're thinking about is something that probably is long overdue for a system as large as ours. And so it's pretty much looking at how we want to shape our goals for the future, be it 3 years out, 5 years out, 10 years out. I think we should have that strategic plan overall in those increments as well, not just immediate for the actual fiscal year. So it's wonderful hearing all these things. And I just want to also plug, we have 3 different chambers here in Lafayette, that, to my knowledge. And so when we're, looking at engaging and working with the proposed strategic planning company, that we definitely will keep that. We should keep that in mind as well. But there are lots of wonderful things that's going on that we just need to highlight more of. We are highlighting it now, but we just need to put it out there much more.
I have met with Ms. Carrie DeWitt with Masters Guild, and she has a program that she want to implement soon in front of the board about having juniors and seniors in high school get in their program, and that way, whenever they graduate, they can go straight to a company where they could be making 60 to 70,000 a year if college is not the option for them to go to college. So she has a big program that has been doing real well in Baton Rouge, and they're gonna be bringing it this way in Lafayette this summer. So we'll probably be seeing her soon at one of these board meetings on an information agenda item.
Madam Chair.
Tom?
Thank you. And just a few more points, not to take up too much time. But yeah, it's how do we tie all these efforts together, right? Because everybody's doing these different things we're not even aware sometimes. I'm just remembering that I've been talking with Mr. Dugas for several years now about working with LEDA on a wage and salary survey, just determining, inside the workforce, what are the best opportunities for growing, for increasing retention. There's so much data out there, but you have to compile it, you have to look at it, you have to analyze it. And I just want to say that after someone spends 13 years in the system, where do they go? What are those outcomes? What is the value proposition? The family, the student, and I think there's a way to look at what this district is providing to the communities all around us, and also how do we incrementally and maybe even in a transformational way change that over time. So, thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here as well. I do not have anything else on the agenda. Does anybody else have anything to add before we adjourn? Well, I just want to thank everybody for being here. We will do these meetings monthly. We will announce the next location of the next meeting, which hopefully will be in one of our schools that we've identified as a priority. Once we figure out the logistics of how we're going to be able to live stream that or get that information out to the public. I'm sure after COVID and Zoom and everything else, we can figure this out. But yes, so we will announce that. Just be looking for that on the calendar as well as the agenda coming out. And in the meantime, just be thinking about any other topics or anything. And we'll make sure to get the information on the strategic planner emailed as well.
Yeah, just one more thing that I wanted to add, and I'm going to stay at it tomorrow night, but, when we talk about facilities, I'll just say that we have a lot of people out there that are really working hard as far as making sure that our facilities are where they need to be. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot of our maintenance people that had to get out there in that cold weather and to secure and do different things. And I just want to give a big shout out to Dr. Robley, to our Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Construction, Mr. Robert Gautreaux. All hands on deck was actually, taking place to make sure that these individuals were doing what they needed to get our kids back into school. Regrettably, and I'm all about instruction, I hated to miss those 2 days. We had to because of, just not being in a safe, but getting back to school after that, to where I looked to my right, my left, that there were school districts that were just out of school. We had all our kids back and we were doing what we had to. But again, if you see those guys, if you see those burn hearts of the stars, thank them, because believe it or not, we had those contractors out there checking those air conditions and checking those heaters and doing all the different things. So again, big part of this is facilities, and I always want to make sure that we're giving shouts out to those people that are doing the work. Even right now, they're doing things to make sure that our facilities are up and running.
HVAC, let's put HVAC on the list. All right, well, good. Well, I guess we will go ahead and adjourn. Thank you all for being here.